Welcome in. It is the ATB show. You can go to atbshow.com and find all the places where all of our faces are. We're brought to you by our dear friends, the Joe and the Leslie over at AAA Work Trucks, Rubber Shoes, hanging out in beautiful downtown LA. I'm in beautiful downtown Cow Hampshire. In the recent minutes, Corey has been pulled into hair and makeup. He's apparently getting yelled at by his financial department, which is interesting. So they're probably wondering who's Emerald and who are Stardust. And when did you employ them into your services? All I can think of when he tells me that he's because I got an email the other day, and it was just this laundry list of all these charges, and it's our assistant CFO, and he's like, what is all this? And I'm going through, and it's all the lifts from our last trip when we were just in Austin back in December, like a whole bunch of lifts, but it's all broken up because the lift fee goes through, and then when you tip them, it's a separate charge, but it's on the same date. So I'm trying to figure all that stuff out. And then they're looking for my hotel receipt. I wanted to be like, and this is where I turn into an infant. I'm like, I don't have the hotel receipt. Like Kaylee books our rooms. Like I don't have any paperwork. I don't know what's happening. So I think he's getting stepped on right now. You ever see Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah, but I don't remember it that well. But
the scene where his dad, played by Rob Reiner, is coming in, and he's yelling about the dinner bill, and he's like $20,000 on sides, and and oh god, they're just like, yeah, we got all the sides. We got all the sides. Phenomenal movie. So I think he's getting yelled at about his expense account. So maybe Corey joins us. We have Uncle Dukes and Adam are both fulfilling their parental duties as basketball dads, and they will be back. We believe they've been threatening to come back in February, so we should have them next week, I believe. But for now, it's you and me, and we were talking about Netflix before the show started. Which one do you have? And the price changes are coming again. Did you see that?
No, but I have the one with commercials.
I just connected the dots. You're getting it because wrestling moved over to Netflix.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we got it before the Christmas.
Okay.
So I think I got it the beginning of December because we knew the Christmas games on.
Yeah, before
on
football. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And then January Monday Night Raw started on.
So yeah, I think I'm currently at the 4 screens 4K, and I believe the 4 screens 4K commercial free is $22.99 right now. The rumor is it's going to $24.99. The other challenge, and I've gotten a couple of emails asking me if I'm aware. I got a couple, and it hasn't happened too often, and I don't think he's on it that much, quite honestly. Every once in a while, when somebody in particular tunes into Netflix in Illinois, I might get an email from them double checking and asking and like, hey, by the way, if you need to, you can add an outside user, which he's not. He's my student in college. You have to pay another $8. So that would put me at $33.
Yeah.
If they hit me for that after this next price increase, which is, it's also fascinating that when you think about it, I remember, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, but it's worth bringing up. I remember the coffee colored boxes, the cream colored boxes with the red numbers. I remember Richard E. Lindsay losing his mind as the cable truck came down the street. We were all excited. This is like July of 81. And we were excited because, of course, we found in the newspaper back in the day that on August 1st, 81, this channel MTV was going to start. So we were going to have cable in time to see MTV for the first time. Like, so excited about it. I remember my dad screaming and like some rando price, but I remember him like $30 for television. I think now, and he's already spinning because he knows what I'm about to say. I think now, if my dad knew that I was close to $30 for one streaming service of many streaming services that I have that are outside of the digital fence of my DirecTV streaming, like the only blessing now is like now Paramount Plus is attached to my Showtime. So that's like, I'm doing so many little things. I just realized, do you ever go into your team? Welcome to the show. We're all over the place. We love you. So You ever go into like your T-Mobile account? You have T-Mobile? Are you guys T-Mobile?
No, Verizon.
Verizon,
Oh,
but you go into your account and depending on what tier of service you have, there's all these other things you can add on.
yeah.
And like I looked and I'm just like, okay. And I'm realizing because we've had Apple Premiere Family, whatever it is, with all the add-ons for so long. And I'm like, the kids aren't using Apple Music because nobody uses Apple Music.
I do.
We have a family Spotify account, so nobody uses Apple Music. And the kids have
Well,
always loved Spotify.
I used to use Spotify, but then they stopped allowing it on my DJ program. So
Oh.
Apple Music is allowed on it. So that's why I only have Apple Music. Well, actually, I
That
have Spotify too, but
that
I
makes
use
sense.
Apple. Yeah.
So with the whole Premiere thing, it was like Apple Fitness, Apple Music, Apple News, your extra cloud for storage, and then Apple TV. And I'm like, okay, I can get Apple TV through T-Mobile. So I'm moving to that on February 1st, and then I'm just keeping the cloud because I was paying for Apple One Premiere for the family per month is $37.95. Now I'm paying just for my additional terabytes of storage $9, and I'm getting Apple TV for free or paying for it as one of my free services through T-Mobile.
Yeah.
But like if you're real savvy with that, you can knock down the prices and sort of justify it. But it's just talking to an agent about this week. The fact that it's going to be $25 for Netflix a month, and I know you could say, well, you don't need 4 screens and all that stuff. If I ever here's my logic behind this. If I ever want to watch Netflix and I can't because it just so happens that Aiden's watching Netflix or my in-laws are watching Netflix, or like or if we're out of screens and I can't watch what I want to watch at the moment I want to watch it, I'll lose my mind. So that's where I'm at with it. But like the streaming services are out of control.
Well, I know. So that's the thing. It's like all these people that, cut the wire and went all wireless and street, they're going to end up paying what you're paying for cable eventually with all these. They keep going up every year.
Yep. It's creeping back up. Like I was super happy. I'm at 2. I'm going to get this wrong. Well, I was just talking about my T-Mobile bill. That's not the number I want. I'm at 181 right now for DirecTV streaming.
Yeah.
But that allows me to have him. He's allowed to use it at school with no bullshit. And like unlimited streams at home, which how many streams do you have going? But unlimited streams at home, unlimited cloud storage. And that's with every channel. We have everything. Yeah. And I was paying like $280. Literally saved $100 by getting rid of all the equipment and leaving the dish, like leaving DirecTV satellite. But yeah, unbelievable. But Netflix. So what are you watching? You're watching a ton of comedy. Which one are you watching the most? Like, who's your favorite right now?
So I watched all those 3 Nate Bagazzi. I watched Joe Rogan, watched Chappelle, and Shane Gillis. So those are the ones I've like. We just started watching them like a few weeks ago. So
Shane Gillis has
and
to
now
be,
football's almost over, so the weekends will be filled with watching a lot of that stuff.
Shane Gillis has to be like a man crush for you because he's Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He's a huge Notre Dame fan.
And
I remember. He arguably has one of the best Trump impressions on the planet.
Yeah. Yep.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
The whole one that he does where they killed oh God, I can't think of the guy's name now. But he does the whole he's like he did a whole presser. He's like he did 40 minutes and he just kept talking. I can't think it was one of the terrorist leaders. And he came out to do a whole, he did a whole White House press room speech about that they got him. Yeah. And he's like, "Don't cry." He cried like a dog. A beautiful dog. Yeah. He does. His impression is second to none. I don't know if anybody does it better than him. And then he did a whole bunch of stuff with who was the kid that did the Brady roast that crushed it? Hinchcliffe. There are some great. So Tony Hinchcliffe has his whole thing where he does, Kill Tony, and they have the artists that all the comedians come up and they just have to stand there and just go, and he brings him. So he'll bring Shane Gillis out on stage. He's completely dressed up like Trump, and there's another comedian that comes up dressed up like Biden,
Oh, that's Shane Gillis?
dressed up like Trump.
Yeah. I didn't know
Oh,
that was him.
1,000%. When you watch those Hinchcliffe
Jesus.
clips,
Yeah.
that's him.
Oh, wow.
That's Shane Gillis dressed up like Trump. He
Okay.
does. They do such a good job. That stuff's hysterical. I think Hinchcliffe is great. He was the one we were just talking about the Brady roast. He was awesome on the Brady roast.
Yep.
He stole the show because nobody was ready for him because nobody had really heard of him, which was pretty cool.
And what's Glazer was awesome.
Oh, she was
The-
great. Nikki Glazer
Yeah.
was great. She
Nikki
was
Glaser, yeah.
hysterical because she just ripped on everybody. And there were some people that were up there that shouldn't have been up there. And I love who am I thinking of? The two guys that do Two Bears One Cave.
Yeah.
Bert and they did not. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish. I don't know who wrote that for them, if they wrote it, but it just wasn't. It was weird. It paled in comparison to how good Hinchcliffe was.
Yeah.
And just the way he like came out of the crowd, you're like, okay, what's happening right now? Because I'll be honest, I didn't know about Kill Tony. I maybe seen a couple of clips of him on social media, but up until that moment, I was like, what is happening? And that was the whole impression they wanted. Like a lot of people aren't going to know who he is. He's walking in out of the crowd, and he gets to the top of the stairs, and he says to Brady, "Nice boots, bitch. Did you get those in the divorce?" Like he started right away, like just let it ride. Yeah, he was really good. That was really well done. Incredible stuff. So what is not funny is the fact that we're staring at a Super Bowl that bores the hell out of me. I guess we're going to start there. How underwhelmed are you by the matchup? And I'm asking an honest question. Do you and Steph plan on watching the game?
Well, Steph already said she's out.
She's what?
She's out.
She's not watching.
Nope. I'm on the fence. Like if Tyler's gonna be home and he wants to watch it, I'll probably watch it, but I'm not like it's not appointment television. I'm not like, oh, I gotta be ready and this and that,
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
and
I really feel that Philadelphia definitely has a chance to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like on that aspect, I'm looking forward for that to happen, but I definitely don't need to watch it.
I can see. Well, like I joked with somebody today. I said I'm probably going to keep an eye on the movies and see what's in theaters and go on purpose to watch a movie at the theater because you'll have the whole place to yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not that much of a crybaby, and I'm well, like self-awareness has to be on red alert here in New England. We've had 20 years of parades, and I'm truly not coming from that space. It's not even like the Bills game. It was, and there were missed calls on both sides. Yes, I get it. But the 2 first downs that were achieved that were marked as a 3rd down and a 4th down failure.
Yeah.
Like I don't how to, and the referees coming out and like everybody saw it. Even the rules analyst in the CBS booth saw it. Everyone saw that it was a 1st down. That kind of stuff drives me crazy. It's a done deal. They're gonna win. If there's a smart move to make, and this is probably the only tipping point, and I have a tinfoil helmet for a lot of things. I'm not necessarily one that believes that the NFL is rigged and Vegas has their hand in it, and now it's even more so influenced because of DraftKings and FanDuel. I don't necessarily live on that street, although I find it hard to believe, and people just did it this past weekend because sometimes we bet with our emotions. Why would you not take the Chiefs money line?
That's what Tyler did because
it's a sure thing.
Because he was like, if they lose, I'm happy, and I don't mind that I lost my bet. But if they win, I'm pissed. But at least I won money.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see over the next 2 weeks how much the money line moves, and quite honestly, if it holds, because it's always been no matter what game it is, you watch everything that happened during the college playoffs, most of the NFL stuff, and I can go back and retrace the steps for the AFC and NFC championship. But more often than not, the over-under is always pretty close, and Vegas is always pretty close. And I credit
Pretty
that
sure
to
the
the odds
NFC
makers that know
one
what they're
probably
talking about.
wasn't
What's that?
like to Philly getting 55. I'm pretty sure the over under wasn't close in that game. Like that was like 70 something. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, you would be
yeah,
right, and that was unfortunate. I was hoping for a better game there, and
yeah,
yeah, that got away. But it was exciting to watch Philadelphia do that and get even more juiced up. The question is, can they hold on to that steam, or are we going to get to a point? And there's nobody really on that team. I mean, you could argue that this is the furthest into the playoffs that Saquon's ever gone. But there's nobody on the Philadelphia team that I'm thinking the lights are too bright. Absent
yeah,
Sirianni. Sirianni, you could say the lights might be too
yeah,
bright because he's not. When you and people are going to do this to handicap the game for the next 2 weeks. If you start to go down the list and you say, okay, check mark, does it go to Andy or does it go to Nick?
Eagle.
It's going to go to Andy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
coaching and quarterback they have. I think Philly has the rest.
yeah, yep.
Maybe Chris Jones, you give them a nod to the
D
Chiefs, but
line, yeah.
I think Philly's defense is better. And the thing is Kansas City's, which I don't know. I think McDermott should get fired. I know he was in the AFC Championship game, but
Mm.
he is holding that team down. He's not a good coach.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up. Let's skate back to that. That was fascinating to watch them. And I know it's their preferred method to do their version of the tush push, and he tends to go off tackle on the left hand side.
Yeah,
But when everyone knows that, and to your earlier point, when they have Chris Jones, they have a severely stacked front line.
yeah,
And when there's two things that have to happen on that play, you've got on the D line, you got to watch the ball and anticipate it and jump it. You do have to jump the call. You have to masterly jump the call to break that, because if you don't win that, it's just inertia at that point. And Josh is a big guy too. Like, you just put the right guy behind Josh, it's much different than putting a huge guy behind Jalen Hurts. But to consistently do that on fourth down and then not be getting it
yeah,
was fascinating. When you've got somebody like Josh Allen, like, just run those little bootlegs, do the stuff that was happening with Mahomes.
yeah,
Because when Mahomes starts to rush out, and God bless him, because he and all of the younger quarterbacks do it because they're all great athletes. They all have massive hands. They all have the DNA. They need to be great at what they do. But he's running, carrying the football like a sack of potatoes, as your coach would say back in the day. And he's running, little head fake, little wrist flip, doesn't lose the ball, and then keeps running. Like he could have gotten all those if he just did a couple bootlegs, as opposed to the tush push, which was just getting locked up. And like, what are we doing? And he did look inept. Like that, it was not a good look for McDermott.
yeah. I think he cost them definitely. Um, but I unless Sirianni screws it up, I really think that they have a better team,
Mm.
and I think the Chiefs' Achilles heel is they have a trouble against a run, which that was I was taught like they didn't go to Cook. It's like you have a running back who's getting like 8 yards a carry and you're not using them. Philadelphia is going to use Saquon.
Oh
Like
yeah.
he could get close to 200 yards, I think, in this game.
Well, so there's if anybody's smart enough, and they are because they're in the Super Bowl. If the Chiefs are smart and they have why is his name escaping me? Their defensive coordinator is
Spagnola.
Spags is phenomenal. And he's been around long enough to watch it happen to his own team. All you have to do is pull a Belichick here, and which is an easy thing to say. If they can hamstring Saquon and force Jalen to make throws and force Jalen to become the X factor in the game,
Yeah.
right? That will be dangerous. But if they
It'll be
can't
interesting if he
if
could
they
do it.
can't,
Yeah.
yeah, if they can't hold on to Saquon, then it opens it up, and AJ Brown dink and dunk here and go there. Like they're gonna, yeah, they should be fine. I'm gonna watch the game. Like there's not a piece of me that doesn't think I'm gonna watch the game, and we're gonna know real quick. You're gonna just we've always talked about this. Like you can see which way the juju's moving very fast.
Yeah.
And Janina's gonna lose her mind. And what's even more fascinating, which they must be loving at this point, is that Brady has to do color for this game, right? So Brady's gonna be calling the game.
It's on Fox. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Brady's gonna be calling the game in which he can go three-peat, which they'll be like, Brady never did.
Yeah.
Like it. I'm watching, holding on to hope that Brady gets to call the game, because I'm holding on to hope that just Brady's involvement, albeit from a broadcast standpoint, is just enough to throw a wrench in the works, in the cosmic works of the NFL, and what joy Brady would have.
Yeah,
because he'd go down, right? Would they send Brady down? No, Brady wouldn't go down from the booth. They'll send somebody from the Fox desk, right?
They'll send Jim Brown, Bradshaw, and those guys.
Yeah. But Brady, I think Brady will go down. He'd probably still march down there to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, everybody's so excited about that. Like, yeah, Brady's gonna be forced to call the game where he gets passed and all this kind of stuff.
That's good.
They're great. They're doing great things, but they're and this is a true fact and a sad one at the same time. They've sort of, this is foreshadowing our Celtics conversation, they've sort of gotten away with this season. Like they haven't scored more than 30, right? I think during the regular season, did the Chiefs not score more than 30?
I believe so, yeah.
Or it was right around there. Like they've sort of fallen ass backwards into the playoffs and back into the Super Bowl. So the horrifying thing is, what if they do find that they flip that switch? I mean, I'm just going to say it. I mean, he had 2 catches, 19 yards. Kelsey's going to want to have a game.
So if
he's
you
going to
heard
want to put a stamp
saying that if they win it, Kelsey's going to bring Taylor down to the field and propose to her on the field and say he's going to retire.
Interesting.
He's going to retire and propose to her.
If I'm him, I don't think he's crazy to step away.
Yeah, he hasn't had that great of a year.
Yeah, and I just think, it's body takes a beating.
Yeah.
And just from all the science that we have now, like, his parents are still alive. His brother's already out. There's a ton of money sitting on the other side of it for him. He's going to go to a desk if they want him on a desk.
Well,
all things considered, I think he might be better at the desk than Gronk. Gronk's terrible on the desk.
Oh, yeah.
Gronk's terrible on the desk. I love Gronk.
Love him.
God bless him.
Yeah, he's terrible.
He's terrible on the desk. He's terrible on the desk.
Yeah.
So that maybe there's a Fox position for him, or any of the, because there's so many providers now, right? He'll have a job there. The podcast with his brother is huge, and not to mention, he's got a great life waiting for him with her. Because say what you want about those two, I think there's a genuine relationship there, and I think he'll be fine. And from a health standpoint, like, can you still spell your name? Can you tie your own shoes?
Right.
Would you like to be able to be around for the entirety of your kids' lives, and not have CT and all that kind of stuff? So,
well, hopefully Philly wins and we don't have to see it.
Yeah, or maybe he retires anyway.
Yeah,
his brother retired after Philly lost. So,
but it will be later,
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, I mean, and people are getting annoyed with that, and it was pretty fascinating. Somebody had some reel on social media somewhere, and they're like, they just went to break. They just came back from break. Confetti's falling. Players are up on the dais, and their first shot is her walking with him because he went over to meet her as she came down to field level. And I truly don't have an issue with it. I really don't. As somebody that doesn't want to watch them win, cutting to her being all excited and it's, I don't know. It does feel like too much sometimes. And people are like, oh, they showed Giselle a whole bunch. They didn't show Giselle this much. And Giselle's
Yeah.
also not
Oh, yeah.
her. As popular as Giselle was,
Right.
Giselle's not
Yeah.
her. She's next level. She's the most recognizable female on the planet, I would argue.
Well, at least we won't have to listen to a broadcast that kissing, Mahomes asked the whole Super Bowl.
Yeah, and and Romo, I'll give him credit. Romo, when Romo started, Romo would be like, "This is it, what they're going to run," and then they would run it. Like he was
Yeah.
on. He's the the, and I was joking with my mom about it the other day. Here we go, Jim. Like that. That is just so played out, and it's just like a
Yeah.
drinking game now. And it would have been a drinking game in a couple of Sundays if CBS had the game. Yeah, I think I was, because my mom Cheryl hadn't figured out where Brady was. I'm like, he's on the Fox broadcast. He's on the game of the week. He only does one game
Yeah.
a week. He's the color analyst, and she's like, all right. So I had her watch the game the other day, and I'm like, a lot of people still don't like him in the booth. His first game was rough, but I think he was trying to find his way. I think he's gotten better.
Oh,
And he
yeah.
can still be, he's
I
still
think
hokey. He's still Brady. He still
Yeah.
gets real excited and stuff. But
Yeah.
he's a wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
He's a wealth of knowledge. And like and he's picking apart plays and picking on this and picking on that. And yeah, he'll be very discerning in a couple of weeks on Sunday. That'll be fun to watch. Because if it was Romo, it would make it worse.
Yes.
So there was that. Go ahead.
Him and Nance, both of them.
Yeah, and again, take nothing away from what he's doing. He's a phenomenal athlete, but I don't know. I don't know. And I'll give him credit too. He's doing all this. He very quickly pivoted and came out and a couple of summers ago said, "Listen, I watched Brady do it. I know what I need to do. I need to restructure my contract." Because I was saying on this show a few years ago, like, there's no possible way that they're going to keep his $500 million contract and be able to financially structure that team.
Yeah.
It's not going to make sense. And he restructured and he knew what he needed to do. And that's been smart. I truly think he's a good kid. I think he's a phenomenal person because he has figured out a way to tamp down his brother and his wife, for that matter. He has a very annoying, eclectic group of people that happen to be around him. He's like Charlie Brown. He's sort of aw shucks Charlie Brown. He's a good dude, and he's surrounded by a bunch of pig pens. And it's just like the cloud of dust is always behind him, and that's annoying. But he's done a really good job of and he's been the beneficiary of the fact that now Kelsey has all eyes are on his social life, So she happens to be up there with Taylor, but it's much different. So I mean, I'll watch the game, but I guarantee if it starts to get out of hand, Janina's like, she's gonna be like, we gotta go. And I will flip over to one of the 1 million shows that I'm watching on streaming services right now. I got to tell you, you know what I just fell into? And it's this is a deep track. I'm sure you don't have MGM Plus, but there's a show called Deep State. It's only 2 seasons. It was on Fox in England. It's so good. I said to Janina, I said that there's, at least for me, there's like the DNA footprint of what show is going to make me keep watching. There has to either be MI5 in England or Langley's involved, right? Like the Secret Service is involved in either the US or the UK. There's some nefarious bullshit going on in the Middle East, and it's just all black ops stuff. I'm all about it. People getting their throats slit in dark alleys and all that stuff. Like because you watch it and it's sort of like, oh, this is this show. It's just a different version of this show.
Yeah.
And I could watch it all day because I was watching something and I truly have ADHD. I'll be watching something. I'm like, okay, I'm sort of fried on this show because I plowed through like 4 episodes, and I'll switch to another one. And she's like, what is this? Because I was watching Slow Horses, which is on Apple Plus with Gary Oldman, which is phenomenal. It's MI5 over in UK. And then I switched over to Deep State. She's like, what's this? And she's like, and I'm like, oh, this is Deep State. And she's like, what was the other one? I'm like, Slow Horses. She's like, what was the other one? I'm like, that's The Agency. And she's like, how do you keep track? I'm like, I'm not sure that I am keeping track, but I'm having a good time. I have no idea what's happening. But so many good shows on, which begs the question, and then we'll get back to sports. Do you watch anything on network television? Are you watching 22 minutes minus commercials with canned laughter in studio? And to poke fun, I think the last thing that I watched that was like that would be Seinfeld.
Like new show? No. We
Like
literally, we watch.
network television show, 8:30 on a Wednesday
Nope,
on
nope,
ABC.
we watch
Okay.
so every night, we
Yeah.
we watch, like, we come home, I put it on Comedy Central. It's either The
The
Office or
Office.
Seinfeld,
Yep.
and then at 6 o'clock, we put it on Everyone Loves Raymond, and then at 7 o'clock, we put it on Everyone Loves Raymond on a different channel, and then there's King of Queens is on another channel. We just watch reruns of those shows.
Okay. Okay.
The only thing new we watch is, like, sports, wrestling. Um, that's we watch
Sure.
some of the documentaries and stuff. So we watched. We have one more episode of the Mr. McMahon to watch,
I haven't started
but
that yet.
yeah, yeah.
Is it
There's
good?
no. Yeah, it is really good. Netflix does a great job with those things.
Netflix sports department with all of those documentaries and series, and they're now they get the NFL. Um, they're doing the Notre Dame show,
Oh yeah,
which
you
I
told
think
me
is
about
going to
that.
be a limited series. That's going to be, they just do a great job. And any
Yeah,
of those shows, and it pains me to say this, like that's going to make me fall in love with Notre Dame football. Because you watch those shows and they tell the stories and you just get endeared to it.
yeah.
Like
So there's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, go.
So they did one, like a Hard Knocks for Notre Dame back, probably 7 years ago or something.
Yep.
But there was a player in that. He was a freshman, Jerry Tillery, and I remember him. And he's in the NFL now. I believe he's on the Rams. And I remember,
Yep.
like, because they, like, hazed him, and instead of calling him Jerry Tillery, they called him Terry Gillery. So it always stuck with me, like, him, and it's like he made it in the NFL and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
but that was the same thing. Like, they do such a good job on those shows that you
Mm-hmm.
really like certain personalities in those shows, and you hope that they do well.
Yep.
So that'll be good. Oh, I wonder if I'll see the kid that Tyler went to school with at all. He doesn't play.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was actually a write up in the Lowell Sun a couple weeks about him, um, that I think he plays on special teams a little bit,
Yep.
but he's like the nicest kid. Like, everything I've seen on him, like, reported on, like, the blue and gold and stuff like that, is like
Mm-hmm.
on him. It's almost, I feel like it's almost like a Rudy thing, like the whole team pulls for him to
Mm-hmm.
be able to play or something, 'cause they love the kid, but I don't know what happened. He was, when he got recruited and went there, he was a redshirt freshman, and he was like his redshirt freshman, so his 2nd year, but, well, I forget how they what
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
was. He was 2nd string left tackle
Yep.
then. And, like, as the years have gone, he's at, like, this year he was like 4th string guard.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, he's going the wrong way. So maybe, he'll be a senior next year. Maybe he, puts in the extra work this summer and makes it, you know, gets a chance to play more next year. That would
Yep.
be great. But yeah, oh yeah, I'm watching that, definitely.
So, yeah. Speaking of being connected to people, Aiden reaches out to us last week, and didn't happen last year, but Coach made cuts at LFC. So, and he shared, two of the people cut were sophomores, and one of them was one of his roommates, actually, who he was close with. So we are like, this is like, I was talking to Jane about it. I'm like, this is really weird. I feel bad because like he's never like really gone with this, and we're asking them, we're like, hey, what's he gonna do? And he's like, oh, he's already filling out. There's something when there. I remember when he was, when you're sort of, there's a thing that you can do to apply to all schools, like to put yourself out there, and I forget
Yeah.
what that's called, but he was doing that for the academic piece, and then he was going into the portal, and the two sophomores that got cut, this happened on Monday. One was gone Wednesday, and his roommate was gone Friday. Just crazy how
To
quick.
another school.
Yeah, gone
Oh,
somewhere else. Yeah, which was crazy. And anyway, so I said to Bubs, I said, "Hey, there's 6 of you, so Aiden's. It's a 3-room suite, so it's 6 guys all together."
Yeah.
And I said, "Is somebody coming in to grab his spot?" And they said, "Yeah, we just had a transfer in. There's a kid coming in from um, Siena, which is actually a D1 school. So he's been D1, but he's not getting any playing time. So he's transferring in, and he's going to be their roommate. His name is Liam Bradley. He's actually related to Keegan Bradley."
Oh, really?
So yeah, we didn't. I'm trying to. I was like running the age. I'm like, well, I know Keegan's got young kids, but if he had an older sister, maybe this kid could be. So I don't know
Yeah.
if the kid's a nephew or a young cousin, but
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
So
So
you know the Philpotts, right?
yep,
So they're like second or third cousins to him.
to Keegan, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, did
Yeah.
you? Speaking of that, did you watch last night? Did you watch TGL?
No, I was at the station and I had the Celtics game on, but we were pretty busy. So
They saved it last night, I think.
was last night Woods versus Rory?
Last night was Jupiter Boston. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
And the challenge for us has been week 1. It was on at 9:00, and we tuned in, and 9:00, fine. To me, it was like, I don't know if this makes any sense, but whatever. Then it's moved. Then we were expecting it to be 9:00, and then like there was a week 2, and that was 7. So by the time we realized it had already started and tuned in, we turned it on. It was like 9-1.
Yeah.
And never mind the scoring, but I'll just, if you haven't been paying attention,
I watched
if you turn on a
bunch of it
baseball
the
game and
first
it was
week.
9-1, how would you feel, right?
Yeah. Right.
So it's just like, okay, like, and that was a rough watch, and like, and McAfee has talked about this on his show. I think the challenge is, at least for me, I really enjoy the match. I love when they do the Capital One match on TNT. Because you've got Barkley, and he's giving everybody shit, and it's just funny. It's well done, and the dynamic is different because they're out there for a great cause, and it really is like a charity event where this is 51% competition. They're trying to make a new, different, exciting product and stuff, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have that same vibe. All of that got fixed. I think got fixed last night because like there's been rumors that like, hey, if you watch and if you notice, all the seats aren't sold out. It's on the struggle bus, and it's like, how can they, even if they're not sold out, they should be giving these tickets away, but they should be inviting boys and girls clubs to come in and just fill the seats.
Yeah.
If for no other reason, at least make it look like a Wii video game and fill the seats, right? And there's some stuff that was just like, okay, this isn't really clicking, and I don't know if the worm has turned or if I'm not necessarily going to say it was just because it was Rory and Tiger, but they ended up going to overtime last night.
Oh.
Like it was good. It was really
Yeah.
well done. And last night they might be onto something now, because I was fearful. I was excited it was going to be a cool winter thing in the weeknight gap while, if the Bruins and the Celtics aren't playing, Monday night, this is
Well,
cool. And
they always play on the same night anyway, so
yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I think they might have figured themselves out, and last night seemed to be really good. So it'll be interesting moving forward. And they went into, after they play the team concept, they go into one-on-ones, and the one-on-one turned out to be Tiger and Rory, and that was really good. Tiger drained.
So Rory and Tiger have personalities. I feel so the first week I watched, like Shoffley's kind of boring. Like
Yep.
I think you need more. If I tell you what, that watching, I'm hooked on DeChambeau now. Like his YouTube channel. Like I was so against any live players. His YouTube channel and him
Breaking
like
50 is great. Yep.
yeah, so I watched the one with Trump, and then him trying to get the hole in one over his house. It's like he's got a personality. And that's what I think pissed me off the most about him leaving, is like I really liked him in the PGA, and like so they have to find guys with personalities to be on that. What is it, TGL?
Tomorrow Golf
Yeah.
League. Yep. TGL.
They need to find, like, it doesn't matter if they're the best in the world or whatever. You need guys that have personalities because that's you need the banter in between to hold a TV show like that. You can't
Yeah.
just have 4 drips on the team and, like, yeah, they're making great shots, but it there's n the you need the banter, and I
Yeah.
know like, Tiger's really good at that, and I'm sure Rory was I know he can be, so I'm sure he was and maybe
Yep.
they're coaching him, it's like, "Hey, we need more, like, I know we're trying to be like, a real, um, competition out here, but we need the back and forth for
Yeah.
this
Yep.
to
Yep.
really get people into it."
Yeah, and I think they might have figured some of that out last night. The other piece to it that I think is going to be interesting getting into next year or whatever next season looks like, or however they're going to format. I just trust it's going to be winter, winter, winter. Um, it would be interesting, even if they tagged one on at the end of the season, just because they could, is to do it like a pro am thing too. That would
Oh,
be
yeah.
really fun. Like
See yeah, that
that kind of stuff would be really fun. Mix it in.
yeah, see, if you
The
had
competition's gonna get there. But if you're sending Tiger out, or you mix it and bring the live guys in. You know,
I was just gonna say that, like, have a live team. I mean, they have, like I can't I can't stand the guy, but Phil Mickelson is great at that stuff.
Mickelson's a stick.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
DeChambeau, that
yep,
I mean, they
yep, and Brooks, they're right there.
yeah,
That's a
I know,
killer
I
app
can't
right there. You put those three against,
Yep.
you know.
I hate Koepka even before he went to live,
Oh,
but he
Janina
is
can't
good.
stand him
Yeah, he
either, but
is.
he's a
Yeah,
stick. Yeah, he's a
yep,
stick.
yep.
Yeah,
That would be great, like a pro-am thing, have each team 4 or and maybe even 6 and have 4 professionals and 2, celebrities with them.
yep.
That'd be great.
Or even
That would
pairs. Even do three pairs.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
See,
That
that could be also have, like, the head-to-head team, maybe have more. Like, I thought it was gonna be like, I know they only have 4 teams,
yeah,
but I think that also just the head-to-head every week is not great.
yeah. They'll figure it out. I mean,
Yeah,
I, I, I pray to God they do. That's the other thing that's interesting. I'm not, no, don't know if you're familiar. I tripped over him during COVID, um, and didn't realize he was a pretty big deal in the golf influencer world. His name's Rick Shields. Do you know who I'm talking about? Rick Shields, British guy. He just got signed
I'm
by
familiar.
Liv, which was interesting to me because I feel like we're getting perilously close to this bonding of the two leagues.
It's
And he got
still out
signed.
there that it's supposed to be joined somehow. It's
Yeah, and
still out there,
he
so
just came out and announced that he's now been signed by Liv. He's going to be doing content creation at all the events and also be doing him personally, probably bringing somebody with him, obviously, so we can have a conversation and make a show of it. He's going to be doing a breaking 85 or a breaking 75 or something at every
yeah.
on every tournament location. And I thought that was interesting for them to advertise that as they're also coming together. And I know they'll sort of coexist. It's not going to be this melting pot necessarily, but
Yeah.
yeah, I want that to get wrapped up
Well,
and
it'd be
get done.
better so I hope they tweak it a little bit. I'm not in love with the Live product, but now they're gonna be
No.
on Fox Sports 1, so that'll be better for them.
Yep.
But yeah, I definitely I
Yeah, they
don't
finally
like
made it to
their
CW. Now they're on
format.
Fox. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So they Fox Sports or FS1?
I
FS1?
think it's Fox Sports 1.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, and that's an improvement. I also, to your point, and I'm like, Janina's like, even the scoring with TGL, she's like, what's that? And all this. And I'm like, I'm not necessarily sure. I mean, it's pretty much match play. And then
Right,
there's a
yeah.
hammer you can throw down. If I threw down the hammer on you, if you accepted it, the match is now double points. If you don't accept it, you forfeit the hole. I win the hole and we move on. So they've got some gamesmanship in there, but I think when I put on, when I put on Live, I have no idea what's happening. And Janina's
Yeah,
like, the fucking uniforms are stupid. That's
yeah.
stupid. She gets so mad, and she's so mad at everybody that's left. Like if her boyfriend,
I'm
if Justin Thomas ever left, she'd lose her mind.
and I mean, I guess maybe it's part of them signing the contract, but they always have their freaking team hats on every interview they do, even in their like the stuff that's posted on
Mhm,
YouTube and stuff like that,
mhm.
it's like,
Yep.
"Really?"
Yeah, that's deep in the contract, I
Yeah,
guarantee. Yes, because I hate when they come over to play in the PGA stuff and they're all
yeah, that
dolled
yeah,
up in their
got
live
their
stuff, but of course they're
yeah,
gonna be. Of course they're gonna be. And you know
yeah,
what? They've manipulated it now that all the guys that got big paychecks to leave aren't gonna get penalized to come back.
yeah,
You know, there's some golfers that I'd be heartbroken to see him go, and I also, as a dad, I wouldn't question them getting paid.
right.
Wouldn't question them in a minute. If somebody walks up and like, I'm gonna give you this much money, just walk over to the side of the fence. Yep. Where do I sign? Generational wealth, you know?
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
apparently
yeah.
some of them got $700-800 million. Like, yeah, I gotta go. I'm taking off.
Yeah, I
I'll be back later.
I would not be shocked if at some point Tiger ends up over there.
I'll be
Like,
heartbroken.
they're gonna throw the money at him just like even though he's not gonna win anymore, but just to
Yeah.
have him out there,
Yep. Well,
like,
that's why I
oh,
want all of this melted back together as much as possible
yeah,
before somebody else gets lured over there. Because that also shows me, as I really enjoy Rick Shields' content, and but them signing him to a content deal tells me that nobody else is moving right now, at least. That they're
yeah,
not
yeah.
signing golfers, they're signing influencers. So I thought that was pretty telltale. But who knows? So couple things, a few different things. Apparently, the Fenway Sports Group is selling off a minority stake of the Penguins. So I wasn't sure if you had your checkbook out and if you want to own a
Yeah.
piece of the Penguins. That's happening. Wondering if they're doing
Yeah,
that to free up some capital for their run at the Celtics. I doubt it. In related Celtics news, which I enjoy for a few different reasons, Jeffrey Lurie is apparently
yeah,
in the
I would
running.
so that's how I was gonna I would not he runs a good team.
I, I I love the fact. Well, he did run. Let's be honest, he did run Andy Reid out of town. But other than that,
Yeah,
yeah, he's a Boston kid, right?
yeah,
BU, Brandeis, and Clark. So he's a smart Boston kid. His brother is on the spectrum because I realized every time I saw him up on the booth, he's always got like the puzzle piece on. And I'm like, what's going on there? So I did a deep dive a
yeah.
couple years ago. His brother's on the spectrum. The Eagles have the only NFL facility with a quiet room with a sensory space
Oh,
for people
that's
with
nice.
autism, which I thought was super cool.
Yeah,
And just, yeah, like all around. So here's a question, because I was like, why do I feel differently about this? And I do. And I was wondering if you felt the same way. I'm fine that Jeffrey Lurie owns one of our enemies, a team that, one of the few teams that beat Brady. For him to swoop into Boston and grab the Celtics, I don't have any issue with. Yet, I definitely had an issue with a current owner, John Henry, leaving town to go grab another team. And I don't know if it's the devil I know and the devil I don't know, that I don't have any animus towards Jeffrey Lurie, or if I simply feel different because Jeffrey Lurie would be coming in to support us, not stepping away to support somebody else. So I guess I have to sit with my therapist and work all this out in my head, my heart. But I was like, why do I feel differently about this? Because I was always just like, no, everybody's got to be from Boston. I want Matt Damon to buy the Celtics. Like I've got it all drawn up in my head, like that's my fantasy story.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, how do you feel about it? Are you good with it? I'm super good with it because
Um,
he's got
so
roots.
I think he's one, yes, he's got Boston in him. Two, he although the Red Sox weren't afraid to spend, and then they started buying all these other entities, and now it seems
Mm-hmm.
like they don't spend. So that's what I would be worried about. Where it looks good with Philadelphia that he does the right thing there, but
Yeah.
if he took on too much, and then he starts cut. I want someone that's going to be all in for the Celtics and not care about the money. Because they they got some big price tags the next few years, and I don't want that someone to come in and blow it up because they need to save money right off the bat, you
Yep.
know?
Yep. Well, he
And he
could also
seems
be
like
he might not that he wouldn't. I think he'd be driving the bus if he was going to make an approach to the Celtics, but he could also be that person I was sort of theorizing about. Like they need the big money person.
Yeah.
So could he be the big money person that's still attached to Matt Damon and Ben
Oh,
Affleck?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
right, like who
Right.
knows? Who knows? Maybe he's the guy because of I don't know. It's really intriguing. I like him because of the autism connection. I think that's super cool. Maybe because of that connection, maybe Flutie gets involved. I mean, I'm throwing pasta against the cabinets at this point. Yeah. People that lived in Boston for some time that have a connection to autism by the Celtics. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah. Oh my God. We can call it the sensory center. Yeah. Be great. It'll be a big puzzle piece from the
Yeah.
Goodyear blimp when
Yep. Yep.
they do the overshot. Who knows? But I did find that interesting that they're today, I guess they're shopping a minority stake in the Penguins. So who knows? Now, this is where people would argue, well, yeah, but you can't get upset if they sign somebody to Liverpool and be pissed that they didn't sign, Mookie, because those two bank accounts don't touch. I get that they're not commingling funds, but they're all commingling funds that mingle back to John Henry.
Right.
And the
Yeah.
people at the top. So them making that move to maybe free up some capital with that team could be maybe stacking the deck financially so they can make the offer they want to make. But also they could also make the offer and probably be okay without freeing up that money. I have to imagine if they're going to be in the conversation, they could figure it out without having to sell 7 players off the Penguins. I don't know. It's interesting. I can't wait. How close are they? Like they wanted all the bids. Are they making an announcement soon?
I don't know.
What does the bidding
I
look
feel
like?
like it should have been. We should have heard some noise about it yet. And who knows? Maybe the Fenway Sports Group, they're going to be part of the package with Pags. Maybe because I don't think Pags can do it by himself. He doesn't have.
Yeah.
I don't think he has the money to do it himself. So he would have to attach himself with someone to do it, and maybe one of these are gonna attach. Which that would be. I would love to have him stay as the main owner, and then keep Wick around because he would definitely keep Wick around. I think.
Yep. Well, that's interesting, and I also I don't know if we'd hear about it if he was. I can't believe Kraft isn't involved. He loves the Celtics. Loves the Celtics.
Yeah,
I think knowing he would look like he wasn't paying attention to the thing that needs all the attention if he was in the running. Like everybody's like, well, you're not really a great steward of the team that you're currently driving into the ground right now. So we don't want you to take over a team that's actually winning. Well, they were.
Yeah.
We used to. It was in the good old days last year when we were world champions. Who knows? I don't know. Interesting. And the Alex Bergman thing. What is happening? Are we ever going to sign him? Is that not happening? I heard. What did I read the other day? That he wants no less than 5 years, and they want no more than 4 years.
So and
And
I
if
thought
that's the
I saw
tipping
that.
point, what are we doing?
And I saw that they might, like, the Sox would be able to do 4 with a 5th year option, something to, and I mean, obviously no one's blowing him away, blowing Boris and Bregman away, that they're
He's just sitting there.
so, I mean, is 4 years at 150 million good enough?
Well,
I know he
apparently
was.
not.
Yeah.
Apparently not. And is that the number they're talking about? Is it 150 for?
I know I think he wanted when he first came out, he wanted 200 million, and I think that was the 5 years, 200 million. So what's that? 40 million a year.
40.
Which he's not I don't know. He's not a $40 million player.
Yeah.
He's at some point, baseball's got like these contracts for these superstars every year is like getting ridiculous. At some point, they got like the TV package can't be that good. I know they're not getting the fans they used to get, but I mean they
Yeah.
gotta think, the next time they go to re-up, these other the networks might be like, hey, you guys aren't producing the views that you used to, so we're not paying that much for you, and that'll kill the sport.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have, and most of the cities have pretty lucrative RSNs. I understand that, but when does it turn that we start to run into, which would be complicated because of the frequency of the games? But when are we going to see it? Like, I know that the Curtain and the Sanctuary tour for the Irish Catholic community in Boston, when all of a sudden, um, not going to name any names, when people on Bentley Lane and Chelmsford couldn't find the Red Sox on a Friday night because they were on Apple Plus.
Oh, yeah.
And so many things are wrong with what I just said. First of all, it shouldn't be there. Second of all, if you're going to be there, get great people to call the game. They didn't do that. It was just a horrible product. But are we heading in that direction? Are they going to start to have those conversations? Because there's enough streaming services.
Yeah.
And the other real interesting thing is what's going to happen with this big sports thing that's supposed to be happening, right? They're supposed to be putting together this huge sports app that's going to be, it's involving Warner Brothers, which is why you're now seeing, which is funny, this whole mishmash of, it used to be if you got Disney Plus, it was Disney Plus, Hulu Plus, ESPN Plus. Now you notice ESPN Plus fell out of that conversation. They've thrown Max in that. That's now the three apps that are in there, because all of them, it's going to be Fox, TNT, TBS, ESPN are going to have this one big app that they keep talking about that's sort of being held up right now by, I forget the streaming service. I was going to say Pluto, but it's not Fubo. Fubo is fighting about whether it's gonna pass or not, and there's a piece of that that's sort of coming to fruition with DirecTV streaming right now, because now they've created, you can go in and get all the services like Ultra, Mega, Premiere, all that kind of stuff. Then there's one that's like sports only.
Yeah.
So they're moving in that direction. I don't know when that's going to happen, but what will that look like? Because you're going to have some major sports players all on one app that you're going to have to buy into. And they're talking, this is going to be 40, 45, 50 bucks a month. I'm not throwing up right now because the rumor is, with all the arm wrestling that happened in August and September between DirecTV and Disney, ABC, ESPN, was we will have access to that probably at a certain tier. But like, I get the sports pack baked in right now because I'm at Premiere level with all the channels. So it's going to be like, when does baseball go down that road, to your point about like, where's all the money coming from?
Yeah.
Because there's not that much, and the viewership has dropped off. Like, the kids don't, everybody's having a Super Bowl party. Not everybody, but a lot of people will have a Super Bowl party. People are like, are you coming over for game 2 of the World Series? Only if it's regional. Only if it matters, right?
Yeah.
And game 2's on Tuesday night, so no, but I'll come over maybe for game 5 on Saturday.
Right.
Like, they're losing that. And that the 8:30 starts don't help either,
Yep.
Insert
Not
old
for
man
the old
waving,
guys.
waving,
Right.
insert old man waving cane at cloud, So yeah, it'll be interesting. I can't believe that deal's not. And not even the Red Sox. I can't believe Bregman's still just sitting there.
Yeah.
I guess is my shock. So I guess a credit to the Red Sox. Jesus, did I just say that out loud? Credit to the Red Sox that we're not chasing and just throwing money at him. Because to your point, $40 million.
Yeah.
But if they're really hung up over 4 years or 5 years, get over ourselves. Like, let's start to put a baseball team together, for God's sakes, Because he's really the last decent piece that's out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
And he's a piece that we need.
Sure.
It's like if they had Teoscar Hernandez, outfielder, like it would have been nice to add him, but I don't we're plentiful in the outfield right now. So it's not a huge need, but I and I think this is what's gonna happen if they get Bregman. Bregman's gonna play third. Deva's gonna be DH slash first base, and because that's his
Mm.
defense hasn't got much better over
Yeah.
the years at
Yep.
third base. So having a all-star third baseman, a Gold Glove type third, and if Story stays healthy for a full season, having them two on the left side, that would be great.
Hmm.
Um, and then that would, I would love to see Rafaela play center, Duran play left or right. They have that one piece helps everything else fill into where they should be playing.
Hmm.
You know, if not, then you're still probably bringing Rafaela into the infield, and I think if you have Bregman there, you don't have to have a stud at second base.
Yeah.
Like you can keep Rafaela in the outfield, keep Duran in the outfield, and it then hopefully one of the young guys, the top prospects, they they're definitely staying in AAA to start the season. They're not
Hmm.
bringing any of them up because
Hmm.
they want to keep the years, where they're arbitration eligible, because
Yep.
that's how we play, instead of having unless, in spring training they just go off and they have no choice to
Hmm.
to bring one of them up, which would be a great problem to have. I mean, they're good with their pitching seems to be pretty good. There's gonna be a competition for the closing position. Their starters, if they're healthy, Nick Pivetta is still unsigned. Maybe he comes back and,
Mm.
add a little depth there. So, uh, I'm I'm feeling a lot better going into spring training this year than I was the last 2 years, but
They're not going to
it
ruin
would
your
be
summer.
it would be great to add that extra piece. It would
Hmm.
I mean, they had Bregman, they're in the conversation because I
Hmm.
think their pitching is gonna be pretty good, their starting pitching.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, just pony up. I know it's easy for us to say, it's not our money, but
Sure.
put your big boy pants on. You did it before. You
Yeah.
you went after Josh Beckett, and you went after Kurt Schilling. You went after these big pieces to go for the run, and it's like you're right there. You're like Danny Ainge right now.
Right. Missed it by that much.
Yep.
So the Celtics don't need Jimmy Butler. Where do you think he lands?
I don't I so right now he's suspended
Indefinitely.
indefinitely.
They said he wasn't going to play, and he walked out of shoot-arounds.
Yep. And I don't know. I feel I could see Pat Riley playing hardball and not letting him go anywhere.
Just smoking him out. Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
Like,
Interesting.
of all the guys, I could see Pat Riley doing that, like, "Oh, you
Yeah.
you wanna go leave and chase a championship at somewhere else? Guess what?
Yep.
Not happening on my watch."
Yep. Interesting. And there have been rumors about the clubhouse for the Bruins that Pasta and Marchand aren't as close as they used to be. Do you think it wouldn't be Pasta, but do you think they would deal somebody away? And we can't say it wouldn't happen because it's happened before. We had Bork.
Yeah.
It's happened before. Do you think? I don't love it at all. I want them to grow up and make up and
Uh,
kiss and hug and just
yeah.
get over themselves. But
So,
do you think he's
Neely's
gone?
Neely and oh, crap,
Sweeney.
Sweeney, they got a tough decision. They're bouncing up and down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're they're out of the playoffs. They're in the playoffs. They're the 3rd seed. Like, it's
Right.
the league is all jumbled up, like, from the 3rd seed in the Atlantic Division to the last wild card spot. It's like
Mm.
2 points, and then there's, like, another 4 teams that are out of the playoffs right now that are within, 2 or 3 points. It's
Yeah.
and if they sell off, they're out of it. So if they decide they're gonna sell, they're not gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna have, and that's the decision they gotta make. Do they
Yeah.
try to they're they haven't looked good, but so, um, watching a team that's got jumped back in it, so the Canadians have jumped back in it.
Yeah,
They
boy.
were the 3rd worst team in the league back in
Mm-hmm.
November,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're one of those teams fighting. They're like, they win, they're in a playoff spot, they lose, they're out, and it's like back and forth. Bruins and Montreal, like, the last few weeks, it's like one wins, they jump into the spot, knock the other one out, and,
Right.
um, but you watch the 2 teams play, and it's like Montreal looks like a team that's playing well.
Mm-hmm.
The Bruins, they'll have 2 good periods, and then they can't put together a full game. It's so aggravating. It's
Mm-hmm.
like and if they're up by 1 goal at the end of the game, you feel like when the other team pulls their goalie, they're gonna blow it.
Mm-hmm.
But reverse, when the Bruins are down a goal, and they pull their goalie, they never score.
Yeah, I hope they don't do anything. I really don't.
I
I
mean,
think I'd love for Marshy to
yeah,
just be here and for them to figure
they
it out and just click.
yeah, I don't think I think they're safe. I don't think Pasta or Marshy's going. I don't. They they cannot sell at the deadline. I Do you know what it would do to the fans here? Like, if they just like, "Oh, yeah, we're folding up shop," they're done.
It would not be great.
So, I don't think
And
they
they
can
and
do
they
it.
have one of the most fervent fan bases in the city
Yes. Yep.
without fail. And I
And they
still
have,
think it would be
right now,
bloody.
they got a bunch of injuries. They got people that are gonna be coming back, so I think they can't stay pat. They definitely have to tweak something. Um, I know Frederick's name's been thrown out there for a trade. I mean, someone like that, you could trade, maybe get someone, changes the chemistry a little bit.
Yep.
Um, so I think it might be something like that. I don't think it'll be one of their top players.
God, I hope not. I hope not.
And
Would not be great.
Swayman seems to be getting back to his, better playing self
Yep.
lately
Yep.
too, so, I think they they have to go in. They have to be part of it.
We shall see. Hopefully, we
Yeah.
have a third baseman next week. Maybe a new owner for the Celtics. Still holding out hope for Bezos, but I don't feel like I'm hearing his name at all. So
Yeah.
maybe he's not in the mix. So we're not going to get the distribution center. But you and I will be back at it next Wednesday. We are back
Yes.
right here next Wednesday. We expect we will have a few more faces because everybody's threatening to come back after basketball is over. So for Adam and Scotty and Corey, stuck in hair and makeup, for Rubber Shoes and myself, we appreciate you hanging out. We love when you subscribe and like and comment and share. And above and beyond that, our best Joe and Leslie, who tolerate the stupidity, and we get to use their name every week when we talk about AAA work trucks. How was what was the was there like a post game? Did you do a redux, like how much better the company party was because you guys were up in the rafters as opposed to just a suite?
No, no, I didn't really, haven't
Is it going to
heard
stay
much.
there now though? Did
I don't
they
know.
march you up to the mountaintop? They're not going to walk you back down to like low seating, are they?
I don't know. It seems to it's been better every year, so I don't know if it can get any better than it was. So maybe we're there
Maybe
now. We're
next year you guys get to be in the locker room
Yeah,
and you
that'd
get to
be
suit up.
yeah,
That would be great.
yeah. Oh,
White chocolate.
that'd be
Get you and
I'll
Scal out there in the unis doing deep knee bends. Would
yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Would love it. All right, we'll be back at it next week for everything ATB at the buzzer. You can go to atbshow.com. And that is all. Have a great week. See you, bud.